Listen, son, to all the sons out there. You can be anything you want to be. Keep God first and love yourself, love your family, and chase your dreams. Welcome to the Listen, Son podcast.
Welcome everybody back to the Listen Son podcast. We just want to truly thank all you. We just put out, I think we in the teens now. And we heard that most podcasts don't get to past episode 10. So for us to be doing this and continuing on this journey with you guys, it's a pleasure. So welcoming back my Uncle Rick up there, my dad. Nice to see you, Pops, Money.
Yeah.
And our special guest, Coach Carter. Nice to see you. Had me on the Zoom with him last night for about 4.5 hours. I had to get off because of work, but I know they, like he just said, they went on for well to 5 hours. So what Coach Carter is doing with those Zooms, man, is very therapeutic. And it's touching a lot of lives. So thank you for doing that. Let's get right into it, man. I don't think we need to hold no punches. So Coach Carter, just to start off and throw you the first question, just like you talked about your family before we hit the recording, but what does it mean for you to be a dad and have a fraternity with your sons and that father-son fraternity?
Well, it's important because, like I mentioned, I was a teenage father myself. I had my oldest son, Alonzo Carter II, when I was 17 years old. I'm born and raised in Oakland, California. I didn't have a father figure in my life. My mom raised me, graduated, didn't get a scholarship, walked on, played football, and ran track in college at Cal State Hayward. I wanted to stay close. The reason why I went to Hayward because I wanted to be a father to my son. I didn't want to just abandon him and leave him and grow up the way I did, and it was tough. But I wanted to set an example, and 20 years later, he ended up going to the same university as me. He has his sociology degree. Now he's about to be a probation officer. And then my stepson, Malachi Miller's a redshirt freshman now on the football team. Me and my wife, Roselle Carter, she had 2 boys of her own. My other son, Isaiah, he works for Amazon. And then our daughter, Kennedy, she's an honor roll student. And prior to getting married, I have my daughter, Alana. She's a senior at Cal State Northridge. And my son, Anthony Carter, he's a sophomore at Cal Berkeley. He's a computer science major, got an academic scholarship. So I wanted them to see that by being educated and using your education, it can change your life, give you different vehicles to be something, be productive, whether it be being a student athlete or whether just being a professional in life. So I just wanted to set that example for them and let them know that there's choices you have being from Oakland and Berkeley or wherever you're from, wherever that inner city situation you was in, don't give up. I think want to be a role model and try to set an example for my children. It's been a blessing to be able to have them and watch them grow up and be young men, young women, and just try to set the example for people. And I'm not done. I've been in San Jose State 4 years, and my next journey is to be a head coach again. So that's something I'm living by example.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that. Thanks for giving that to us. I'm going to see which one of these gentlemen want to hop in right away because I'm going to hold mine to the end, but y'all want to go right away and talk to Coach Carter.
I'll go right away. I'll jump in, Mike.
Yes, sir. Okay. Go ahead, Uncle Rick.
Welcome, Coach Carter. Thank you for taking your time out today to be with us on Listen Son podcast. We just thank you for all that you do. My first question, I'm going to get right to it, is, coaching as a father, specifically an African-American father, and in these changing times and with the pandemic, what motivates you to stay focused on your biological children and the players that you basically fathered and mentored and balance your coaching as well?
Well, one of the biggest things you want to be as a man and as a leader of a household is not to give them any built-in excuses to not be successful in life, because life is always going to throw you some curveballs and some challenges. And the pandemic is different for everybody across the country. It's something that no one's seen coming. But, as a football program, Coach Brennan, our head coach, which is a father himself, he put a challenge out to our team. He's like, hey, we're going to call it the COVID 60. Can we get 60 football players with a 3.0 or better? And that was one of our goals. And my son was one of those kids that were with that challenge. And we ended up getting 63 players, which was the most ever in the history of our football program. It has 60 plus 3.0 students. And then I took it a step further and was like, got out, one of my other friends, Coach Otis Yeverton, which is a father himself, got out during this time and started walking. You know, I go out and walk 5 miles every other day. Just wanted to take some time to, we had this thing, we call it the 5 Alive Challenge as men. You know, as Black men, you want to be able to take care of yourself. And as you get older, I'm 51, it don't get no easier. So I go out, throw my music on and go walk 5 miles, man. During the pandemic, I've lost 30 pounds. Getting out, taking care of myself, drinking more water and being conscious of what I'm eating and setting a good example for not only, like you say, my family, but the players. They're looking at it. I posted. We have this 5 Alive channel. I put it on my Facebook page. I put it on my Twitter page. And they encourage me, so it makes them want to work out. So if I can do it, you can do it. You know, you're not going to sit back and have a pity party on what we can't control. We can't control the narrative with the pandemic. All you can do is control what you can control. And on top of that, I started my weekly Zoom meetings, which, you know, we had 35 guys when it started off. That thing had plus 600 a couple of times, plus 500. I've had over 7,000 people tap into the Zoom since we started in May. So just set an example of not sitting around and being in a pity party and woe is me, and try to prepare yourself as a man first, because we are men first. Everybody on here tonight, we're men, even the young men, they're men. So if you're going to be a father, we got to lead by example. And it hurts, trust me. I say 5 miles, but it ain't easy. But I go out and do it. I went out from walking 5, now in 5, I can jog about 3.5, 4, and then get that 5th one. So I'm challenging y'all too. I got to get Mike, Uncle Rick, I got to get that 5 Alive in, man. Put the headset on and just go for that walk, baby.
Hey,
Right,
Coach,
right.
I jog around a high school football field, what's that, 16 times. I go, because it's a track field also. I go eight down to 1 back up to 8, and they tell me that. I didn't measure. They tell me that's 4.5. So I do that every
that's
other
4.
day.
That's over 4 miles. That's beautiful.
I do that. That's what I do.
There you go, baby. There you go. I love it.
I try. Yeah, and like I said, I get that water and I do what I do to try to stay healthy, to set an example.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest thing. Just being a role model and example as a man. We men first before we coaches. And I think that's the part sometimes we get messed up. I can take off this polo and I'm still Alonzo Carter. Whether I have a emblem on my chest or a San Jose State in the background, I'm Alonzo Carter before I'm Coach Carter. So I want to make sure that that's always first, being a man and being a role model, being a father figure.
Right.
Thanks for enlightening us with that. I have one second question also.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go back a little bit with you. Being a well-known high school coach in the East Bay area, you sent, I think they said like 100 or more players to Division I level, and then some to the NFL, you know. And I'm just going to name a few. Like I said, Marcus Peters at a quarterback for Kansas City. Marshawn Lynch, I think you guys have a relationship. And not last but least, but Takaris McKinley. Can you enlighten on us, the viewers and listeners, what your present relationship with those guys are now?
Well, Marcus Peters, that's my nephew, you know, Uncle Zoe.
Okay.
He's been my ball boy. His dad, Michael Peters, which is the head coach there, that's my best friend. He's my children's godparents. And we graduated together, me, his mother, Doreen. We all graduated from McClymonds High School in '86 together, and I've been knowing him since birth. He was my ball boy, and I'm just so proud of him to see him grow up and be the person that he is. And we used to rough him up all the time. I feel bad because, you know, he got that hot, heated, passionate attitude, which we started that when he was younger. And he's always been sharp and smart. He's down there. He's in Baltimore now and doing a great job. Real proud of him. Marshawn Lynch went to Oakland Tech, which was the rival school. And he used to always come in with McClymonds against Oakland Tech when I had Nnamdi Asomugha, which I trained for the NFL draft from Cal, which he ended up going first round to the Oakland Raiders. So I used to get those camps when Nnamdi was at Cal, and he would come to Oakland and work out. Marshawn was in middle school. So when he got to high school in 2001, we won our first championship at McClymonds. Marshawn was a 10th grader, and we used to have these battles, but he couldn't beat us till he got to his senior year. And, he finally got us, and he went with me. We used to have these renegade. That's when you can do the summer football camps. So I used to have these little renegade teams. So his sophomore and junior year went to San Jose State that year, and then the junior year he went to Cal with us, and that's when Coach Ron Gould seen him playing, and they offered him a scholarship, and that's where he ended up going. He's a phenomenal young man. He has work ethic out of this world. We used to take him on the weekends, and he used to train with some of the guys I would be training for the NFL, and we running hills on Saturday. Then on his own, he used to go run what we call Strawberry Canyon in Berkeley and the stadiums and all that. And Karis McKinley, I coached him at Contra Costa Junior College when I was a head coach. And, you know, he had 50 offers. He signed with Cal, didn't qualify. Well, they thought he didn't qualify. The NCAA made a mistake with his clearinghouse stuff. And once he came with us, we got that cleared up. And he was one of the top linebackers in the country. And he chose to go to UCLA. Ended up being a first-round draft pick with the Atlanta Falcons. He flew me to the draft in Philly. It was a blessing to be on ESPN and NFL Network just to see how all that experience is in the green room and watch him go first round. That kid used to be homeless. His uncle, Tuffy Wiggins, is like my nephew. So we've been all knowing each other growing up. So I had a chance to work with him. And when you see your players go through this process, man, it's just a blessing to watch them defy the odds, you know, just to be different. And despite whatever struggles they go through, those young men have made it to the NFL. Like, it's crazy now, Marshawn didn't retire. You know, he's a successful entrepreneur. He's a businessman, and he's always been sharp. And it's just a blessing to be a part of those journeys. There's other people like Javid Best. You know, he's first-round draft pick out of Cal. He ran summer track with me as well. So Tywan Jones, he played for the Raiders. He's playing currently in the NFL. So it's just when you got a chance to touch so many lives because you're doing something the right way and people want to come around you and they looking up to that next person because Joe Mixon looked up to Marshawn, okay? And then Najee Harris looked up to Joe Mixon. So all that's the same cycle. All them guys from the Bay, all them guys looking at each other. Next thing you know, you can just start this pipeline of people having hope. And that's what I call it, a hope factor. Whenever you got a hope factor, I'm writing a book on that. It's called Hope Factor. You can see past all the negative stuff. And you have tunnel vision on being positive. And that's what all them young men have in common.
Right.
Thanks for sharing those blessings. It's letting us know that it's not only about sports, it's about life after sports.
Yes.
So I'll pass it on to one of the gentlemen. They got to be just as eager now since I started up again. Come on, guys, get with it.
You came out with some hot ones, man. You shooting them hot ones out the get-go.
But Coach Carter, you gotta relax because I had two questions for you with the 5 and the live, and you took them. So you got to.
Man, you know, you should know from listening to me on the Zoom, man. I get to going, I don't stop. I'm gonna hit you.
Go ahead. Hit you with them. Go ahead. I got one you ain't gonna touch on though, so I'm good.
Okay.
Look like Money wants to go. Money, you was next.
Come on, Money. What you got?
Yeah, I go ahead jump in. I ain't know if Uncle Mike was gonna jump in or not. But yeah, thanks for coming on for us, Coach Carter. It's definitely a pleasure. I mean, you definitely gonna be one of our top ones. I feel like you already jumping into some great knowledge. But yeah, I'm just going straight into the questions. What was your intro into sports and what influenced you growing up?
Well, I mean, Uncle Mike, Uncle Rick, or Mike C. I know you your uncle, but for me, we all know. Growing up, I thought not the OJ y'all know, real OJ. I wanted to be OJ Simpson when I was growing up. That man was one of the top running backs in the NFL. I thought I wanted to be him growing up. If you look at my freshman year in college, I wore number 32 because I thought I was O.J. Simpson. I wanted to be him. I used to run, play football, and ran track. And then I got to college. I loved me some Deion Sanders, you know, when he was at Florida State. So I used to like to run. So anybody that represented playing ball and could run, that's what I wanted to be. But like I said, I had a son, so it wasn't easy, man. And I was told by my high school coach, though, which ended up being a blessing in disguise, that out of everybody in the room, which I graduated from McClymonds High School in '86, he said that he didn't think I would make it as a college athlete. And it kind of crushed me because I was going through a lot. Like I said, I'm a November baby. So I was 17 years old when I graduated. My son was born in January. So it was tough balancing your senior year. You got a baby on the way. During football season and during track season, you got a newborn. So my senior year was a wash, man. I was working at McDonald's, trying to balance being a dad and working the night shift. So I pulled my hamstring twice my senior year in track. So it was really disappointing, but I didn't give up on myself. My coach thought I wasn't going to make it and play college sports. And that kind of motivated me. And I was a walk-on. And I played football for 3 years and ran track for 2 years in college. And then, not jumping the gun, I had to leave after my junior year. And that's when I went on tour and met MC Hammer and did all that stuff. I'm sure that's somebody's question. I ain't going to go into all that. But that was what I did, man. I just believed in myself, and I wanted to show my son that, you know, you with hard work and focus and dedication, you can make it. So I was a big O.J. Simpson. I love me some Herschel Walker, Bo Jackson, anybody that could run. That's what I was about. You know, George Rogers. Y'all don't know about George Rogers, South Carolina.
Yeah, I do.
So, I told you, Rick and Mike know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the youngsters. They don't know nothing about that.
Man, they don't know nothing about that.
So those were my motivations, and those were people that I said when I grow up I want to be like them. But I ended up, like I said, I was a defensive back too, and love me some prime time Deion Sanders. You know, he can run, another one that can run, and I just wanted to try to prove people wrong. Being from the inner city of Oakland, didn't get a scholarship. Baby his senior year, washed out senior year was just a waste, man. I just wanted to prove to myself and the father that I didn't have that despite all that, I could make it, you know, and it was a lot, man. And then the part I left out, my mother went through a strong crack addiction my senior year in college, man. And it was, it almost derailed me to give up, but I just fought through it. And I always look at myself as a blessing because I ain't supposed to be here. Trust me. With the obstacles I had in front of me, look at all what I just named. All this happened all back to back to back with no man like Uncle Rick and Mike Sr. to say, hey, son, it's going to be okay. It was just me. But when you have your own son, like Mike got little Mike, you got to dig a little bit deeper and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do to show him that despite all these adversities, I'm going to make it. And I'm still fighting that. I'm still living that. I'm living my own dream right now. And I'm just blessed, man. And I come on here as many times as you want me to tell my story because you got to reach people, man. And I just love sports. Sports was my avenue out. I love sports and I love listening to music. Without them two, I wouldn't be sitting in this seat that I'm sitting in right now.
Good, it's good. That actually going to my next question with it then. Just with you being a high school coach and running your own program at a time to being a college coach now, what's the biggest difference in those two levels for you?
Well, the high school coaching, I fell into that. That changed my life and it saved my life because when I came back, like I said, out of the music business, I was trying to find something to occupy my mind. So I went back to my hood where I was from, which is West Oakland, California, and I volunteered as a track coach. I coached track before I coached football. And then we were so successful in track, I said, well, let me do my first love, which is football. And the principal, which was my middle school math teacher, Oliver Chambers, offered me the head coaching position at a very young age of 25 years old. And I didn't want to be the dude that used to dance with MC Hammer. I got tired of being that dude. I wanted to be Alonzo Carter. And so that just made me totally get into coaching football. But I ran my program like they ran them in college. So a lot of my players and my coaches were like, hey, man, you ain't at USC. You ain't at Cal. I said, no, but that's how we're going to run this program. So I got real close with Pete Carroll and Coach Teffer. You know, Fitzhill was at San Jose. So I had a lot of head coaches that let me into that space. So I seen at an early age, even as a coach, that's how I want to run the program. So when my players leave me, they'll be ready to be Division I players. And who did I meet back in 2001 while I was doing that? Coach Brent Brennan, which was the receiver coach at Cal Poly, which ended up going to San Jose State the first time. He's currently the head coach right now at San Jose State. And it goes back to our relationship from 2001. So when he got hired as the head coach, he brought me in and said, I want to see you touch them lives, affect people in a positive way, mentor people, and bring that to our program. So by running my high school program, like I was running a college program, 20 years before I even got on the college level, people was watching what I was doing. So I went from McClymonds High School to Berkeley High School to Contra Costa Junior College as a head coach. I was ready to go walking in the door at a Division I. So I was already in a Division I mindset 20 years before I got to a Division I.
And what age did you start like coaching? Like when did you start like, hey, like?
When I really first started coaching, I was 23 years old. Like I said, I first came off the tour and I wanted to get into it. I was just volunteering and I really didn't think I was going to get into it. And then when I really got sold my soul to get into coaching, when I sold my soul, I did. I had a drop top 1987 Corvette, peanut butter interior. And I sold that to buy another car. And I took the money, which was a $7,000 difference, and bought track uniforms for my track team. You tell me somebody else is going to sell their drop-top Corvette to buy track uniforms for a team that didn't have uniforms. And I did that because I wasn't into the material. I was into blessing people and giving back and wanting to touch these young men and show them if I can do it, you can do it. And that was way back in the 90s. I was in my 20s, brother. But once again, I was a dad. I got Lil Zoe looking up to me, and I'm like, hey, these are the seeds I'm planting to you. And if you do something with a genuine heart, with a genuine purpose, to me, God gonna bless you on the back end. And I'm living my blessing right now. I've only been Division I coach for 4 years. I did not start off saying one day I'm gonna be a Division I coach. I came out saying I want to help people. I want to save lives. I want to affect my community, which was West Oakland. And then that thing just grew. Next thing you know, now I'm here in San Jose State, still living that dream.
Got you. And that's good, because that's definitely something like I want to get into soon. Because I got a son, and my passion, I'm just trying to find something I want to do. And I was just talking to Mike about it, about how I want to coach. And I definitely want to help younger kids and everything. So thank you for telling me that story.
Got to give back. I go to elementary schools. I go to middle schools and just talk to kids. I don't believe in the word that's a bad kid or that's a bad person. What you put in the people is who they are. If you tell a 5-year-old, I never remember going to speak at a community center, and there was this little boy, and he was just messing up. And I said, why y'all keep messing with him? Because he bad. And I said, well, why they say you bad? He said, I don't know. That's what my mama told me. So right then and there, I'm like, that's programmed in his mind because everyone's calling him bad, that he thinks he's bad. And now you programming negative stereotypes into this young 6-year-old kid brain. That told me I want to coach, I want to touch young lives, and I want to change them because my dad wasn't in my life. My mother was dealing with a crack addiction. I was a teenage dad. Does that make me bad? What example am I? I have to show that despite having tough circumstances, you can overcome that. And don't let nobody label you and tell you what you're not. Because according to my coach, I would never play college football. And I played 3 years of college football. And that was because somebody told me what I wasn't. So that's where that whole mindset comes from.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, here go my last question here for you, Coach Carter. Since you was the Big Mountain West, not Big Mountain West Conference Recruiter of the Year, what does that mean to you? And it's the second part of the question of this. I saw you said before that you not only recruit just the players, but you also recruit the parents. How important is that in recruiting for you as well, too?
It's the most important part. I'm a dad. Like I told you, my son is on this team. And I sat with my wife, and when he picked San Jose State, I had nothing to do with it. Because he plays receiver. I coach running backs. When they called to commit, they didn't even call me. I heard everybody, screaming. I'm like, what's going on? oh, Malachi just committed. I'm like, damn, everybody gonna tell me? You know, my wife called me asking for the head coach phone number. I'm like, hey, you know, I work here too, you know, but it was a blessing that he made that decision. And I knew then that it's all about communicating with the parents. I was just on the phone an hour ago with a mom and a dad talking about the advantages of their son being a part of our program, and just want to make sure people know, if you choose to come around myself in this program, we're going to bless you by taking care of your son and treating him like he our own. You don't ask somebody to trust you with their son and then you mistreat them. Because one of the biggest things I learned as a high school coach, I hate, now repeat, hate when my players come back. Oh, coach, they hating on me. Oh, coach, they don't like me. No one's giving you a scholarship to hate on you, son. No one's giving you a scholarship to not like you. The question is, what have you done to build that type of rapport with the staff that's paying for you to go to college for them to have an issue with you? So is everyone perfect? No. But I want them parents to know, if you come and your son picks this university, that we're going to look after him. And I think that was something that I was genuine with. And to be the Mountain West Recruiter of the Year, that was something personal for me, because I had just got named the recruit coordinator the year before. And we had the 5th ranked class. And then the following year, I got Mountain West Recruiter of the Year. So that was just me, not only by myself. We had a great staff helping, but just being who I was and genuinely trying to connect with the parents and letting them know that if you choose to bring your son here, that we're going to do our best to treat him like our own. And that's what we're about, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
So do you have any questions that comes up about what's going on now in the world with it, or anything of like how y'all keep my child safe or anything like that?
We get all that. But you keep forgetting. I'm going to say it one more time. I want everybody on this podcast to listen and hear me. Not only am I a coach at San Jose State, my son is on this team. So I got to look at my wife every night and answer that same questions. So if it's good enough for mine, if I feel comfortable enough that my son is going to do everything he's supposed to do, he's not opting out, he's not doing none of that, and I feel like he's not in harm's way, and the coaches and the doctors and the trainers and administration, which makes the decisions. We don't make the decisions. All we do is relay the information that's getting from us. We're not doctors. We don't get to make medical decisions as coaches. Our job is just to make sure we communicate with the families and the players and let them know that we have their best interests at hand, and we're going to do everything that we possibly can to keep them safe, because there's no blueprint to how to deal with this pandemic. Everybody's dealing with it, and it's been tough that we haven't been able to play. But I think we've done a great job as a staff keeping our players safe and letting the parents know that safety is the most important thing. So yes, we get it. One time I sit, just like I'm talking to you as a coach, and then my wife would come slide and sit in the screen smiling, and everybody bust out laughing, because she'll walk out her room and come sit next to me, and everybody know, oh, you're not Coach Carter no more, you're Mr. Carter. So they just, it's a big balance, but I love it. And I think we're doing the best job that we can to keep our children safe and to keep these players safe. And I appreciate it as a coach and as a parent to what's going on currently at the university.
Love it. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to Uncle Mike here.
Yeah, come on, Mike. Uncle Mike. Come on, Mike Senior.
Yeah, Coach. I want to thank you again this evening for joining the Listen Son podcast. This was basically started because my son had a vision. He brought money, talked the money in, it happened. But I didn't have a father. Rick didn't have a father. And that's what my son always asked me. So you basically answered, he heard it from another man, that we are blessings. You know, not only didn't have my dad, I lost my mom at 6 years old. So
wow.
I know we're blessings.
Yes,
so that book
right.
that you're going to come out with, the Hope Factor, is going to be huge. Yeah, it's going to be huge.
You touch live.
Now there you go. And
So they left me the music. I'm the music man.
No.
When did you meet MC Hammer?
Hammer time.
And Hammer time. And how was the tour? And how did all that transpire?
Well, it's crazy because when I was a sophomore at Cal State Hayward, that's when we realized MC Hammer, also, he's older than me. He went to the same high school, McClymonds. And we was like, hey man, this guy with a local song that was called Ring 'em. His first album was on independent label, Busted Records. He had Ring 'em and a song called Stupid Deaf Y'all. And we used to be like, okay, who is this dude? We used to go to the club in San Francisco, the Palladium. And when they would play his song, man, everybody would just go crazy to it. And me, we partied 6 o'clock in the morning. When I was in college, I used to go to Cal State Hayward during the week. And on the weekends, I'm in San Francisco. Me and my good friends, we started our own little group. We called it Club Nouveau, which it was after Club Nouveau. We all had the little hoe, like party behind our name. So I was King Ho. We had Heavy Ho, Tally Ho, Jigger Ho, Jammer Ho, Frosty Ho, Freaker Ho. I mean, we all had Ho behind our name. We was having a good time. So when Hammer came out, we just loved partying to the songs. And then when he came out with Let's Get It Started video, which he shot in downtown Oakland at Sweet Jimmy's Club in Oakland, me and my best friend, Michael Session, AKA Heavy Ho, 300-pound dude out on his bike tights in his outfit. When we get off this thing, I want y'all to pull up Let's Get It Started, the original video. You're gonna see a dude with a red hat, white shirt, black tights, dancing. It's me and him dancing in the circle. We getting that. And Hammer didn't know us. He said, "What's your name?" He said, "I'm Heavy Ho." He said, "I got my friend with what's his name, King Ho." So we partying. We get a cameo in his video, and then at this time he was still local. He signed his deal with Capitol Records in LA, and then we end up following him all the local shows, and he gave us his business card. So when he shot his video in LA, my other friend, Alvin, AKA Mighty Ho, he went to Cal State Northridge. I follow him down there. We show up at the video. Again, Turn His Mother Out video. We got a cameo on that. You're gonna see me in the all white dancing on a little party scene. So we were just little backups, getting little cameos, and then he gave us his break. We had a group, Oaktown 357. They signed their deal. They shot their video, and that's when we met Steve and Sydney, which ended up becoming X-Ho and Low-Ho. And we created our own group called Ho Frat Ho, which Hammer came up with that name. I didn't like it at first. But matter of fact, it's crazy because it go the album cover right here. Now you see that Ho Frat Ho, baby.
Yeah, I see
right
that.
Here, loud in color. I got it sitting right here. I got to look at that right there. Ho Frat Ho. That's me sitting right there. So that's the whole original album. I found this in my little suitcase this week. That's me flexing and all that good stuff. But anyway, that's how it all started, man. So we end up with him. We went on tour for the summer for the Budweiser Superfest, and he let us choreograph. They put me in the mix, the remix for that, live in Detroit at Joe Louis Arena. We do the video. You're going to see us on there dancing with the all white and all that. We go do Arsenio Hall. We kill it. And that was in July. I'm supposed to go back to school for my last year in football. Remember, I'm a junior. I leave my junior year thinking I'm coming back after the summer. Hammer said, "Oh, no, y'all my dancers." I'm like, "Oh, so I got to pick whether I go back to school and play my senior year in football, or do I take my summer job? Who gets a better summer job than traveling on tour? Or and turn this into a job. So I had to go pro, but it wasn't going pro for playing ball. It was going pro for dance. So I had to pick that, and that's what turned to that relationship. Didn't know Hammer, ended up meeting Hammer. Without Hammer, I wouldn't be sitting here because that blessing changed my life, man. And that's how we end up officially becoming his dancers, and we end up hiring them, and then we choreographed the next album, Please Hammer Don't Hurt Him. You Can't Touch This, That's Why We Pray. Uh-oh, Here Comes the Hammer, all that stuff. The whole Please Hammer Don't Hurt Him movie. You see me all through that. We choreographed all that. So that's how we end up getting with MC Hammer.
Okay. So the Ellen Show, how did that transpire?
Well, the Ellen Show is ironic because I end up, when I was on tour with Hammer, the first time I did Oprah, which was like on the bucket list. You know, I danced with Oprah and everything, did the whole thing. But so here we go, years later, I'm coaching now. I'm Coach Carter. Don't nobody know about me as far as the dancing piece. But Coach Brennan, which is a huge MC Hammer fan, he loves Hammer. He gets me in practice. We play hip hop every day. We always play music. We have a good time in practice. It was our first year there. Ironically, we had a live DJ that day. He tells the DJ to play You Can't Touch This. Now, we normally just be having fun in practice, but we've never played a Hammer song, ever. That day, he played You Can't Touch This. If you look at the video, you see me shaking my head. I said, man, that sounds like Super Freak. I'm thinking it's Rick James. And then somebody say, no. I said, no, man, that's You Can't Touch This. And then I look over to Brennan, and he's smiling and pointing like, come on. And I'm like, no. You see me shake my head and go, no. And he like, you better come on. He gave me the eyes got big, like, you better come on. So I danced, not even tripping. Don't know no one's recording it. Had no idea. Next thing I know, everybody giggling and laughing. I'm like, well, what's so funny? I'm like, my best friend, Michael Peters, which is Marcus Peters' dad, he said, man, I think they set you up, bro. I said, what you talking about? They recorded that. I said, man, I ain't tripping on that. I'm tired. I'm drinking some water. I get home that night, it's on the local news. Then it's on the local news. Somebody put it on Instagram. Then it's on Twitter. By Wednesday, I get a call from ESPN, everybody, ABC News, the coach dancing, coach of dance with MC Hammer. I'm doing all these interviews. I go into Brennan like, hey, man, I didn't come here to be no dancing coach. I come here to coach. And he's like, chill, bro, just relax, have fun. I'm like, nah, man, I don't want people to know. I worked my whole career to be not known as the dude that danced for Hammer. And here we go, full circle, I'm right back to it. So I said, I'm only gonna do one more interview. Only interview I do is I do with Ellen. If it's not Ellen, I'm not doing it. So I made that statement, and I told our video guy, Cam Rafford, which was part of the setup from the beginning. He sends the video to Ellen and sends it to her producers and all that. And next thing you know, we get the call, not knowing that we getting filmed. We think we doing an interview to get on the show with the producers. So when you see that video, that was really shocked. We was really live because I had a earpiece in and I'm looking like, is that Ellen on the, hi, Coach Carter? I can hear it in my ear. And you hear me all start yelling and stuff. That was really live, raw emotion. The only person who knew he was going to be on there was Coach Brennan. But it was a blessing, man. So I've done Oprah, I've done Ellen. I mean, that's 2 checks off my bucket list. And it just, once again, me genuinely having fun doing what I do. So that's how that went down.
One last question for you from me. We have to touch on this because this was right here in our backyard. Jacob Blake. When things like that happen, the shooting that had transpired last night, by being a coach and a mentor, I'm pretty sure you get some of the players upset. And how do you handle stuff like this at these trying times?
It's tough, man, because I tell people, I lost my brother in 2007, gun violence with police, resisting arrest, downtown, unarmed, downtown Oakland. Police report reads that my brother supposedly pulled a police officer that was he's in a car, Nissan. Supposedly he pulls a police officer in his car and throw him in the back seat from sitting down. I'm like, are y'all serious? So y'all telling me he can pull a police officer that's trying to grab the steering wheel through his car and throw him over his shoulders in the back seat in a Nissan? Right. So they get my brother for getting out, and they shot him up, and they say he was resisting arrest. So it was tough, man, and I dealt with that. So before there was the Black Lives Matter movement and all that, which I strongly support and appreciate because I lived it. And when you see this violence, man, and I'm not shaming all police, because my first cousin, Marcel Ways, Tucson, a Black police sergeant, is Tucson, Arizona, which doesn't happen. McClymonds High School graduate from Oakland. My best friend, Kier Abrams, class of '86 with me. He's a sheriff in Alameda County. And it's sad because when you get into that world and there's corrupt officers or police with hidden agenda, and the agenda is not to help us, people my color. When I see the George Floyd, I still have not watched that entire video because I see a head laying down, a bald head black man. I see me. I see him crying for his mom that passed away. Well, my mom just passed away last July. So I see me resisting arrest or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
When I lost my little brother. So that's a hard, man. It's just sad. I seen the video today when they shot the man up. Come on, really? I mean, I just, we luckily, not in a good way, that we do have videos, that we do have cell phones, that we are able to see some of the police brutality that goes on across the country. That's been going on. Mike, you know this. Rick, you know this. It's been going on. We're just getting it caught on video now.
Right.
And it just, it breaks my heart. And so when I talk to my players, I tell them it's okay to be upset. It's okay to be passionate, but know how to articulate the issue. And when you get that platform to speak out, know how to gravitate people to understand your pain, have some empathy for what you're going through, and get them to listen and use that passion and try to create change and create attention to it. But let's not go loot and tear up. And I get it. We all mad. You don't think I want to tear some shit up, what they did to my little brother? I'm telling you, I lived it. But it took me years of going through it, and my mom never was the same. God rest her soul. She passed last July with a broken heart. When they asked my mom when she died in her sleep, they say, well, she was 69. They was like, what did she die from? They say natural causes. Wasn't no heart attack, wasn't no nothing. My mother never was the same when her baby boy got shot and killed. My mom died of a broken heart. And I wear that, man. I wear that, and I feel for these families of these victims that go through this. And I just want us as student athletes or as coaches or whoever has the platform to speak out, use your platform, say it with passion. Don't be the angry black man, because that's what they want us to be anyway. But have your protest, but be able to articulate the issues and bring attention to it. And let's educate Mike. Let's educate Money. Let's educate the middle school kids. Let's educate the elementary kids so they know how, as they grow up as the leaders, how to make the change that needs to happen. Because this stuff, it has to stop, man. It just breaks my heart to even hear that it's going on and still going on. But I pray for that family, and I pray for the community and all the communities that this situation has affected.
That's right. Well, thanks again. MJ, you can do your thing, son.
Man, this has been beautiful. I thank you again, Coach Carter, for joining on. I thank the fellas for this is therapy. That's all it is. It's very therapeutic.
Yes.
So let's keep it going. I want to move on from this, because I know, Coach Carter, you've been through a lot of trauma, and my dad, Uncle Rick, I'm pretty sure you guys have experienced a lot of trauma. I know my dad has. But you didn't let that stop you from being a father and embracing fatherhood and giving the best that you could for your young prince and your young queens that you had. So how were you able to, your brother, your mom, drug addiction, how were you able to stay uplifted and encouraged? I know you talk about the hope factor, but how were you able to keep going through those tragedies?
My biggest thing, obviously, I don't want to get too deep, too spiritual, but I talk to God and lean on him. And I'm not perfect, but I just felt like they were learning who I was and trying to make sure that spiritually that I was doing things with the right intentions and try to find signs of what did I need to do next. And the biggest thing I want to advise people that are going through trauma or going through different things, surround yourself with positive peer pressure. Get people around you. If I didn't know Rick or Mike and I met them just based on them talking, those are the type of brothers I would be hanging around, because I need them to keep me right. Because when they hear my story and I hear their story, we're going to uplift each other. We're going to keep each other right. That's what this podcast is about. And I respect it because it's telling us that they always say it takes a village to raise somebody and raise a family. And that's true, because you don't know who you're affecting. You don't know. You never know what somebody's going through, man. I don't tell people, I've got everybody talking on the Zoom. Mike, you know, you've been on there every week. You ain't heard me speak not one time. Because if I speak, I can shut it down. I can shut that whole Zoom down. Because the stories and half the stuff I've been through, they'll be like, what? What? Y'all talking about George Floyd. Well, I'm talking about Charlie Griffin, which is my little brother. That's what I'm talking about. This ain't new. We just knew that we seeing it. You know, y'all talk about smoking weed and getting high. I'm talking about a full-blown crack addiction from my mom. I ain't talking about my sister, my auntie, my cousin, my mother, the woman that raised me to never drink or smoke in my life. I watched her. She had kids at age 15, 16, me at 18, and my little brother at 21. So by the age of 21, she had 4 kids, 3 different fathers with 0 help. So when she gets to her 30s and her later 40s, now she feels like, okay, it's my time to live what I didn't get to live. And so she starts off smoking weed, which, you know, is what it is. And then I'll never forget the days, and it's in my book, and I'm not ashamed to talk about it. She said, I need to get a little extra high, so I'm gonna put a little something in my weed. With a little something in my weed is crack, and the crack is called a Grimmy. Then the Grimmy turns into a pipe, and then the pipe turns into addiction. And through the blessings of God, I put my mother through a rehab, and that's when I went on tour with Hammer and had the money and the resources to help her get through her drug addiction, help my little brother that now that's in the streets that dropped out of high school at 15 years old because he in the streets selling the crack. So you don't know what somebody been through. That's but right. You got to understand what got me through that is the positive peer pressure. I mentioned to you Michael Peters. Oh, how you know Marcus Peters? Because me and Michael Peters, his daddy, were best friends. He started coaching, which made me want to start coaching. How do you go? People say, well, how do you go from dancing with MC Hammer to being a football coach? Easy. I go back to the same hood I was from, and I give back while my video was still showing. Well, I had just shot the HBO special with James Brown, with MC Hammer, at down by Lake Merritt. It comes on TV, and I'm at work the next day, and they go, Coach, I just seen you on TV. Yes, you did. Now I'm right here helping you so you can get on TV or you can be whatever it is you want to be. I'm no different than you. Only thing they did my first time there, they laughed me out because I came with the leather pants, the boots, you know, I had on my herringbone chain and my leather, and they was like, hey, man, where you from? Oh, I'm from here. No, we don't dress like that. They almost laughed me up out of Oakland. But I wanted them to know that you can do this. If you want to do that, you just got to have the people around you, and that's that positive peer pressure. So I'm blessed, man. Just have that in the inner circle and the people that I chose to hang out with and be around. I'm not perfect, but I'm here. Half the people my age, which Mike and Rick can relate to, they either dead or they in jail. So when you get around some people that's tight, like you and your cousin here, y'all keep that bond. Y'all keep that positive peer pressure. And if anybody get in the way of that, then just separate yourself from that, man. You're gonna lose some friends, but just like family, that distant cousin, you don't let them starve. Just feed it with a long spoon. I ain't gonna let you starve. I'm gonna feed you with this long spoon and keep you at arm's length because I'm trying to do something. I'm trying to do something. And what I'm doing, no one I know in my circle has ever done. Go from coaching Oakland public schools to community college to Division I. What? How the hell? There's no book. There's no recipe for that. Did nobody give me no blueprint to how to get this done? I just stayed focused and I prayed a lot. And I have my son, which Big Mike can relate to look at and go, when he say, Daddy, I'm hungry, he don't care nothing about no platinum album. He don't care nothing about no video. He hungry. So I got to find a way to feed my son. So I had to move my pride out the way and say, I need a job. And that job became coaching. And I wasn't making a lot of money. I put it on the airways. My first 3 years of coaching, I was making $18,000 with 3 kids. And these cats talking about they grinding and I'm hustling. Man, please. 18 thou wow. And then I got a raise to 23. You can tell me nothing. I was fired up because I had benefits. Kinds of benefits. Then when I went to Berkeley High, I moved up to 29,000. Oh man. My friends looked at me like, is he serious? I mean, I was chest poked out. I got a raise, dog. What you got? 29,000. And if we make it to the playoff, I'm gonna get another 1,000. I'll be up to 30. They said, let me get this straight. You got 3 kids and you over here bragging about 30,000? Yeah. Bro, that was for the first 10 years of my career. So you just gotta count your blessings, man. And I ain't gonna say what it is, but I'm blessed to be a 6-figure man. I told one of my players that. He was like, Coach, I want to be like you. I said, why? You said something. And I didn't give him a number because he remembered when I was at junior college. He said, you said something that motivated me. He said, you went from nothing to being a 6-figure, self-made 6-figure man by doing it the right way. I'm not bragging. My dream car was to drive a Cadillac Escalade. Well, I done had an Escalade and a Mercedes. So I bought them. So that's that, because when I was a kid, that's what I wanted to have. Ooh, I want one of those. Ooh, I want one of those. And me and my wife went to look at a house just this weekend. I talked to you. We was looking for a house, move to another house, buy a house, not renting, buy a house. Same kid from projects. My address, I know it by heart. 1445 8th Street, Apartment E, Oakland, California, 94607. That's West Oakland. That's the projects. I grew up 15 years of my life. I know it by heart. I know my project's address more than I do as an adult. I don't remember half my addresses as an adult, but I know that the address when I was a kid, struggling, and my mama was struggling raising us, because that's who I am right now. And that's why my next job is when I'm going to be a head coach. I ain't putting no prediction on it, but I'm gonna get y'all the exclusive. Y'all get me first.
There we go.
I'm gonna give it to y'all first before going to airway. I got a surprise.
Yes.
You got the exclusive. Coach Carter, you got some news for us. Yes.
So yeah, I'm real big. Like I told you, I'm real big on mental health, fam. Just to hear that, I had to give Uncle Rip his props for just being a good support system for my dad when I'm pretty sure my dad is going through stuff that I don't know, So I'm glad that you mentioned that positive peer group because I feel like that lack. I feel like that lacks. So
like I told you, I don't even know them, but I can tell. If I did, that's these type of guys I would be around.
Yes, sir.
Because we all need that. We all need somebody to lean on. We all need somebody to talk to, man.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I'm gonna take it one step further. You probably don't know it, but I just told my dad this, and I don't know if money can relate. Me and money, I know you can relate, dog. You like me. So the toughest thing for me about going to school and now coaching in Minnesota, which is one state over from Wisconsin, but even being 5 hours, 6 hours away from my dad, is in my 20s not having that fellowship with my dad like I did growing up. Just to watch the playoffs right now, the games is on all day. I'm away from my dad watching that, or being able to watch the games, and to be on Zoom with you on Sundays and Thursdays, it's like I'm getting an extension of my father in a way.
Yes.
So I thank you for that. I thank you for that.
I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna speak for your dad before you ask me what you're asking me.
Yes, sir.
Knowing you all right, doing what you do, trust me, that's all your dad want anyway.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
That makes his heart feels good to know my son is in Minnesota doing what he do, because we get to live through y'all.
Absolutely.
And feel good about it as a proud father. So you keep doing what you're doing. What your dad don't want is that call, hey, Pops, can I come stay back with you? No, whoa, hold on, man. I already got the schedule marked. I'm supposed to come to the game and watch you coach.
Right.
That's his mental health. That's his mental wellness.
Yeah,
to see you do what you're doing. I told you, I only been doing this for 4 years. I've been a high school and junior college coach for 20. So that was my mama's mental wellness. That was my kids' mental. My daughter comes to the games and said, ooh, Daddy, you don't yell no more. I'm like, huh? She said, I don't see you yell. I just act the fool now. Ain't no calm Coach Carter coaching in no hood. You got to be a hood with the hood.
Yes, sir.
But now they're celebrating, say, hey guys, why don't you guys chill out a little bit? Calm down, everybody come together. My daughter like, who is this dude?
Yeah, moving forward, you're part of something big, man. Coach put together the coalition, and I know you are on that board. I think you and the West Coast representative.
Yes.
You're doing a lot of things that, you know, you plant a lot of seeds for when you are going in the coaching profession, but in the world, you know, you're not gonna see, but you know you were a part of it. So just talk about the coalition and you know, why is that important to the profession?
Well, the coalition was started by Mike Loxley, and I think it's something that gives an avenue. He hit it on the head when he says that in the NFL, Division One AA, which is FCS, Division 2, and Division 3, which I heard last night, it's less than 10% of African American head coaches at every level. In some cases, 5%. It's a very small number. Not only as head coaches, but as coordinators too. And not only as coordinators, as administrators, people that are making the decision, even in the NFL, as GMs and owners and presidents. So the coalition will give you that list and that different group of people nationwide who are the next set of group of young men, minority coaches at every level, from the youth level to the high school level, all the way up to the NFL level, that's ready to possibly step in that lane and be your next Tony Dungy, or your next Herman Edwards, or your next David Shaw, your next Mike Loxley, your next James Franklin, your next Dino Babers, whoever that is, your next Mel Tucker, your next Lovie Smith. Who are those guys? Who are those guys? And who's your next Mike Tomlin? Who's your next Anthony Lynn? And that's what the coalition is going to do. It's going to surround you with the people that they'll have a list and be able to, in my case, in the Western region, who are the top 10, 15 guys, head coaches or coordinator candidates. In your case, in the Midwest, with Teddy Gilmore at Michigan State, he'll take care of that area. On the East Coast with Ruffin McNeil or Mickey Grace, or down south with my man Brian Stewart at Baylor. We're able to hone these areas and give these numbers and push these names to Coach Loxley and the coalition so we can create different things to promote us. So when these job opportunities come up, we're trained properly for the situations. We know who the network is other than your normal, your agents and your search firms. Here's another avenue of who they can reach out to see who are the next group of qualified, prepared minority, specifically in my case, African American head coaches or coordinators that's ready to make that type of jump. And I think it's I'm just blessed to be part of it. Coach Loxley put me in charge of the West Coast. And I just want to say thank you to him, because he come on our Zooms and he was on there at night. We had 600 plus coaches on there with him, and David Shaw and Derek Mason. I mean, them some dudes right there. You got Mike London come on there with Marvin Lewis, Ruffin McNeil, Bobby Williams. I mean, we've had some guys. You know, Jay Norvell's been on there. So it's just everybody. 11 out of them 14 FBS black head coaches have been on there. Coach Hammock in Northern Illinois. So I got this Sunday coming up, Herman Edwards coming on. The next Sunday, Mel Tucker. So that'll be 13 out of the 14. I just got to work on Lovey. I'm trying to figure out how to get Lovey on me. But it's just a blessing, man, to be able to say you got these guys on here. It's 7 black offensive coordinators in FBS. I've had 4 of them. Josh Gaddis in Michigan, Tony Elliott at Clemson, Jerry Mack over there at Rice, and then Scotty Montgomery at Maryland. They've been on the Zoom and they telling us the blueprint of how to do this, how to make us better. I had athletic directors on there, Verge Osbury, Dr. Greg, Brian Blair. We got these guys on the Zoom teaching us what's the platform and what's the blueprint to elevate in this business. And that's what the coalition is going to add on to that. So I'm just thankful and blessed to be a part of that.
Yes, yes, sir. And I'm glad you named a couple. Coach Loxley has a story. Coach Elliott,
Yes.
He was on the Zoom. He had a story. So not only are you hearing about football, you're hearing about more stories, man.
Life, man.
Life.
Real stuff.
Yes. Testimonies.
And forget we people, man. We're not just coaches. We people. We fathers. We brothers. We husbands. You know, we're people, man. We go through stuff.
Yeah. So, listen, man. I feel like when Coach Carter has the time, he will be back. He will.
I'm coming back, baby.
He will give us more gems.
I'll be back.
He's in the fraternity of the Listen Son podcast now.
Yes,
right.
Love it.
So
make sure you give my number to your father and your uncle, man. Holler at me.
For sure.
I need that
I want to get that book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you know. That's coming. I got the book. I'm working on my man is doing. I got somebody working on a documentary on me. I mean, I'm doing some stuff, and I try not to be out there like that because my life it was therapeutic. It's taken me 11 years to do this book, and it's all been therapeutic for me to just talk about my life, man. And it's been some things I've been through, but I'm blessed to still be here and talk about it. So I'm just trying to do things like I'm doing tonight and share part of myself and be open, like an open book, and tell you what I'm about. And like I said, Mike, I've listened to everybody every week. Over 7,000 people have come on that Zoom and listened to everybody talk. I ain't did me yet. I ain't did mine. When I do mine, you probably gonna have a pin drop. Might be some dudes on there crying because they don't know. They don't know. So when I see young guys like yourself doing what you're doing, hey, you count me in. And you got some dads on here? Come on, man.
Yes, sir.
My new folks right there. They're my partners. I gotta keep in contact with them. They're my dogs right there. You know.
Let's do this.
We always end the show a certain way, but I want to end it a little different because you gave so much Listen Son messages throughout this podcast that we usually end it with you giving a Listen Son message to your son and all the sons out there. But you gave so many that if they weren't listening, they missed it. But what I want you to do is give us a word, one word that we can take this week and apply it to our life. And we'll see how much engagement we get through email or social media with the people that apply your one word to be out there and be great or make the changes that they need to make. What's the word?
I'll give you one word. Dream. Everybody dreams. Because when you dream, it's endless. There's no, you don't go to bed with a dream and it stops. That dream can have just go on and on. It can be as big as you want it to. And then sometime in them dreams, you wake up and you feel like, okay, it keeps me focused where I'm trying to go with my life. You don't want to disappoint people. But most importantly, you don't want to disappoint yourself. And the father word that I love is we as men, we want y'all to be proud of us. And the way we want you to be proud of us, we want to be proud of you. Be your genuine self. Don't try to be something you ain't got to be. Be your genuine self. And we'll support that. Because my son's name is Alonzo Carter II. Do you know how hard that was for him to play football? And your dad, the coach at Mac, and we talked, man, about 3 years ago. Man, I didn't know he was going through all that. Because I'm just being me, and he like, Dad, it was tough. And he a little short dude, 5'5". He ain't grab him with one hand, body slam him. So it was like trying to live up being Coach Carter's son. And I never thought about that. Alonzo Carter II. Oh, you Coach Carter's son. That's hard, man. That's a lot of pressure on him. Mike, it's a lot of pressure sometimes. Right. So my advice to you, just be your genuine self. And your father gonna love you and be proud of whatever that is. Don't try to impress us doing something out the way and doing something crazy. Just be your genuine self. And trust me, it'll make us always be proud.
Thanks once again, my fraternity and sorority of listeners of Listen Son podcast. Please, women and men, please like, subscribe, and share. Continue to support our goals to connect untold special real-life stories.